Welcome to the Gaming Outsider Podcast. This week, Zach, Jacob, and I are answering video game-related questions from all of you, which we do every first episode of the month. In news, there's been some casting announcements for the upcoming Street Fighter movie, and they're pretty interesting, to say the least. As for new games, Zach got a chance to play Pipistrello and the Cursed Yoyo, as well as the anniversary edition of Worms Armageddon. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. Also, we got a community at facebook.com/groups/thegocast and a Discord server. There's a link in the show notes. You could check that out right now. It is Wednesday, July 2nd. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends, Mr. Zach Parkerson.
Yeah, technical difficulties delayed us. However, it seems like rather fortuitous for the news.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I apologize to those of you that are watching live or aren't watching live. Usually watch us on Tuesday nights. My internet was causing me issues again, so we are recording on Wednesday afternoon as opposed to Tuesday evening. So yeah, but like Zach said, turned out to be good because some interesting things happened today. Also joining us, Mr. Jacob Gunderson. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. I owe you a big thank you. After we tried to record last night, Jake came over to my house and did some troubleshooting with me and got me into a working spot. Fingers crossed that I don't get dropped on this thing. But
don't put the cart before the horse.
It has been a frustrating couple of weeks, and it turns out I may need a new Google Wi-Fi extenders or routers. Jake, I'm assuming I'm going to have to purchase some new ones. But anyway. Okay. Let's go ahead and jump into the games we've been catching up on. Starting with you, Jacob. What have you been playing?
I went back and I wanted to hurt myself a little bit. I played Rematch for a little bit, which is the soccer Rocket League game, and that upset me.
The soccer version of the soccer game.
Yes.
Yeah. Imagine if we had Rocket League, but you actually ran around on foot.
Dude, well, if they had a jetpack, maybe, right?
Yeah.
No, that would be so weird. But so yeah, I played Rematch. It wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't like it. It was a little bit more technical and really competitive already. I know it's been out for like maybe 2 weeks or so, but yeah, there's people on there screaming already. So I went back and played Rocket League.
I've had some practice with another game for several years now, so
it's completely different. It's
Is it okay?
That's very different.
Yeah, the mechanics are different. But yeah, so I went back and played Rocket League. That's I'm gonna uninstall that game again. I hate it.
I went well, huh?
I like the games. I do. I do not like the community. I do not like the effort that I have to put in. It takes away from other things.
It'd be fun to play with like just people you know. Can you do like private lobbies?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because that's the way to do it. Plus, I like playing the hockey as opposed to soccer. That way, there's no ball in the air kind of thing, and you put the gravity.
Because you can't aerial.
I can't aerial, and it's just way more fun for me. But nobody ever wants to play that version, so
I will aerial though. Anyway,
I'm more of an Ursula player myself.
Man, I'm supposed to be the dad joke guy here. Come on.
I've also given Insurmountable, the mountain climbing game, a try.
Now this is intrigued me because it's like it looked turn-based or tactic. Like it looked very thoughtful, I guess.
Right. I thought it was going to be more like you take 3 steps this way and then there's an instance that happens or something and whatever. And it's not that way. You just you walk until something happens. And then there's a time loop and I was almost upset.
like there's a narrative time loop or like it's a roguelike sort of thing.
It's almost like a roguelike because you get to the first peak and then stuff happens and some other character wakes you up and goes, oh, hey, by the way, there's a time loop. You're going to lose all of your items and you have to go back out and do this stuff all over again. And so all of the levels you get from climbing the mountain, all the items you find on the mountain, all that kind of stuff goes away until you level up outside of the mountain areas. And then you can go find other characters and stuff. And I'm intrigued by it, but you're on an island with a bunch of mountains. There's a time loop. There's some government secret happening and you are the only person that can solve it by climbing mountains. So all right, there we go.
I wasn't expecting a story at all in Insurmountable. I've thought this has been on my Nintendo wish list for a while. It looks intriguing.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. There's lots of sometimes difficult choices to be made. You're balancing your temperature, your sanity, your health, just a couple of your energy. There's one more. I forget what it is. Oh, and your oxygen. Once you're up past a certain spot, you start losing oxygen per step, basically. And so you're balancing all these things while you're trying to discover things on the mountain, because they give you things that you have to go find. There's these anomalies that happen on the mountain that you have to go investigate, and then you have to get to the peak, and then you have to get somewhere else. So even once you get to the peak, you still have to make it to another checkpoint to leave the mountain.
Huh. So this game is more weird than I thought it would be.
And
the anomalies and the sanity meters and such.
I kind of was hoping that it was going to be every mountain you finish, you get like some kind of currency that helps you with the next mountain that you're going to go climb or something. And it's kind of that, but it's more roguelike than I thought it was going to be.
That is not what I was expecting when you said I hadn't heard of this game. And like you said, a mountain climbing game, and then the rest of it sounds completely not what I was expecting from a mountain climbing game.
It's like I don't know. I know my child has gotten Peak, and it's a first person. It almost feels like it should be VR, but it is a mountain climbing game. But you use the mouse to reach up and grab things and climb your way up, and then you can help your other. It's a multiplayer game, so if like there's someone else behind you and you make it up the cliff, you can turn around and extend a hand out. They can grab your hand and then you can pull them up. I was expecting more about the climbing than it was about the actual surviving the mountain. But I mean, the game's fun. I'm enjoying it. You find items along the way and you equip them. They do different things. So sleeping outside is supposed to be one of the worst things that you could do on top of the mountain, but they give you a bunch of skills to get rid of that. So I've just been caterpillaring my way up the mountain.
Sleeping in the snow. What could go wrong, dude?
Yeah. Losing fingers and toes and nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nice. Anything else?
We'll talk about it in a second with you.
All right. Zach?
Well, I guess I'll get out of the way. I've been quietly playing Trails of Cold Steel in the background. I don't talk about this every week because it would be pointless. But it is the 6th Trails game by my count. And I just finished it. This one, you're like in a military academy. You're in the kind of the oppressive nation for this one. So you get to see more insight into them. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's very good. It's another Trails game. These are great. The battle system remains excellent. This one has kind of like social elements where you can hang out with your classmates and stuff, somewhat Persona-ish. That's been kind of, that was interesting. It didn't lean into the school sim stuff as much as I thought it would, which was a plus for me because I was worried I'd have to live out every day in high school like Persona, right. but
no, social interaction.
Yeah, dude, the greatest threat of all. But it ends on a pretty strong cliffhanger, so I'm very excited to get into Trails of Cold Steel 2 since all the stories are always in like bundled up into 2-parters. So
And
how many more before you're caught up? Because I know they just released a new one recently, didn't they? Or
right? Yeah, they don't stop. Let's see. There's 3 more Cold Steel games, kind of a reverie. So I think 3, 4, 6, 7. When January rolls around, there'll be 7 that I have to catch up on.
Wow,
jeez,
that's a lot of gaming,
dude. In a few years, I'm gonna be caught up. I have they're like Avengers Infinity War game where like they bring all the storylines together.
Yeah,
came out a couple games ago, but I have the collector's edition for that one. But I'm not opening it until I get to it. But I feel like it's just gonna be sitting there unopened for several years yet.
Well, then you could sell it for a whole lot more money and then buy the digital version. Oh, but you're not going to do that.
That sounds gross, dude. If I'm buying something, I want it for me.
Yeah.
It's going to be a trope of like finding the rare relic in the attic and you're blowing the dust off of it.
Yeah, when I'm finally caught up.
Right.
Yeah, because this thing was like 60 hours. This is only half of a story, These games don't play around, dude. Yeah. Yeah, that's the benefit. I don't have to wait a year to check out these cliffhangers. I can just wait, 48 hours or whatever.
It's kind of like binging a TV series that everybody else watched years ago. Like,
right.
Credits roll and you can just be like, boom, next episode.
Yeah, dude. Well, especially the Cold Steel cliffhanger here, just kind of like, it's more of a hard stop than the other cliffhanger. So it really is just like, I would be so annoyed if I couldn't jump right into the second part.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you about a game that I played. I actually played the demo for this game, which I still don't know how to pronounce. Is it Ball Cross Pit? Ball X Pit? I don't know what we call it. Whatever this game is, I'm buying it on day one because this game is stupid fun. Have you seen the trailer for this, Zach?
No, you did tell me to check it out, but being the bad friend that I am, I did not. But you and Jacob have both been tearing this thing up.
Well, I've been playing it the last couple of days. Again, it's just a demo, so there's probably, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half worth of playtime in this. But I was sold immediately. So I don't even know what genre to call this game. But do you ever scroll through social media and there'll be an ad for a game? I know there's. I'm so tired of seeing the ads for the one where there's like enemies coming out at you from the top of the screen and you move your character left and right and choose weapon upgrades. I'm tired of that one. But the one that was prevalent like last year, the year before, was the one where there was like a brick breaking game and you had to shoot tiny little white balls into the gaps of this thing to kind of break all the bricks and just cause this random chaos. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Those games? I never played them, but I saw them advertised all the time. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Vaguely.
Okay.
Isn't that an actual game?
It probably is. I mean, if it was advertised, I would assume it's an actual game.
No. I mean, like you guys, what was the game that you played that was horizontal and you were breaking bricks like that?
Oh, Breakout. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, but it's imagine Breakout, but instead of it being bricks, it is enemies. There are enemies coming at you from the top of the screen, Tetris style, and your character has a limited number of projectiles to fire at enemies. It's like a twin stick shooter almost, but you also have room to walk around the field up, down, left, right, all that kind of good stuff. And boy, there's so much to explain with this. You like, I think you start out with 6 projectiles, and when you shoot them, they are gone until you catch them again, and then you can fire them once you catch them again. And then as you go through and defeat enemies, they drop gems, Vampire Survivor style, and you collect the gems. And then once you reach a new level, they give you 3 options of upgrades. And those upgrades come in the form of the kind of projectiles that you get to throw from that point on. So you may get a projectile that when it hits something, it creates a horizontal laser, or it creates a vertical laser, or it does a lot more damage but moves slower. Or if it hits the back wall, it does a lot more damage. All these different kinds of upgrades. And you keep going and going and going, and there's a mini boss and there's a main boss, and it is so addicting, man. It is so good. It does the Vampire Survivors thing where the first time you have no idea what you're doing, but then once you play a round or two and you get what they're going for, it is so much fun. It is because I was explaining this to Jake last night when I was trying to sell him on it. You know how like in Breakout or any brick breaker game, your goal is to always get that one little gap and then get a ball up in there so it bounces back behind you so you don't have to worry about it, but it's doing all that damage. Now imagine doing that, but with 5 or 6 balls at a time. And it just creates this chaos. But then the strategy is like, well, I got to have some below me so that I can manage the ones at the bottom of the row as well, because these things are constantly coming forward. Oh, it is so much fun just watching this madness going on the screen all at the same time. And I really enjoy it. Jake, what are you thinking of it?
It's a lot of fun. I have beaten I have beaten the normal version with all 3 available characters already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the game is screaming at me that there's no further that I can go. So I will definitely be buying the game for this. But man, it is nuts. I've already found my favorite weapon.
Which one's that?
You combine lightning and ice, and it makes a blizzard type thing, and then it just shocks and freezes everything and goes through them or whatever. But have you unlocked the other characters?
I've unlocked the second one. I have not unlocked the third one. I've unlocked the ability to unlock the third one, but I haven't done it yet.
So the third character allows you to the blizzard goes through characters normally,
Mhm.
But the third character's ability, when it hits the back wall on the other side of enemies, it is a return to you as well. And so as the balls hit the back wall when they go through enemies,
You're getting an extra one.
they start coming back to you, but they do damage to all the enemies that they pass through again.
Ah, okay.
So if you can get the normal balls even around them and they hit the back wall, they will just shoot through all of the enemies all the way forward. So
it's just so
it
cool.
makes the game a little bit easier or whatever. But if you have a special ball that's doing, like the horizontal or the vertical lasers, it activates out as it's passing through all the enemies.
That's
and so
awesome.
it's just lighting up everything. But the freeze is definitely the way to go in that game.
And that's the
It
thing
stops.
I didn't explain to you, Zach, is that this game also does evolutions, much like Vampire Survivors did, where if you had the certain combinations, you could combine them into like a more powerful version of that.
That is always satisfying.
And they do it very similar in here in that, like I was talking about the lasers, the horizontal laser or the vertical laser, where if you get those powered up enough, they combine to do horizontal and vertical.
So this is weird because there are the evolutions and then there are the fusions.
Yes.
Because you can get the items which will give you like the fissions, whatever, from the thing, and they will upgrade them by 1 level. But when they're at max level, if you do a fusion, it will add it'll add 2 balls that do not have a synergy together into 1 ball that allows them to do both. Or there's the evolution that turns into a completely different ball that has synergies in it and it remembers those for you.
Yeah, this is a far cry from what I imagined when I heard the name, which was I thought it was like a first-person shooter, but you're shooting like ball pit balls at each other or something.
Yeah.
God, no. There is a pit that you go into that has a bunch of enemies in it, and then you're shooting balls at them.
Right. But then it also has like a base building component to it. So like after you complete a run, you come back up and you have to like create these harvestable plots of land to harvest grass or wood or stone. And then in order to harvest them, you have these little worker guys that you can't just send out willy-nilly.
They're your characters.
What's that?
They're your characters.
Right, they're the characters that you like. Cause that's why I have 2. Right, you probably have 3 on yours.
I have 3.
So you take your characters and you aim them just like you're doing in the game, and they run in that pattern, and they bounce off this wall, and they bounce off that wall, and they keep going, and whatever they run over, they harvest. So it's like a strategic thing to try to collect them, and then you do the harvesting, and then you can build upgrades to your base that actually help you on your run as well. Like they give you.
It's funny because that's also how you build. You'll build a building in there, and you have to bounce your people off of it for them to build it.
Yeah.
So it's like a little scaffolding area, and then you bounce them off it, and it's like +1, +2, +3. Oh, it's built now. Oh, okay, cool.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't love this part of it, the base building. I really love the game. I just want like just regular old upgrade my stuff here. You know what I mean?
No.
You like it? Okay.
It's kind of like Rogue Legacy, where you're just kind of building like a little series of huts, basically.
Kind of, but you also have to play with in Rogue Legacy. You just keep adding and adding and adding, and this one you have a limited amount of space to be able to upgrade. So at some point you have to sacrifice some land that you're using to collect resources in order to build a building that will help you with your stats.
Gotcha.
I mean, it says that you can expand it, but not in the demo.
Not in the demo. So yeah, you'll be able to make it bigger in the full game. But
that makes sense.
Anyway, ball X pit or ball pit
cross. I feel like whenever I see the X, I always think of cross.
Right.
Like Street Fighter Cross Tekken or
well, that's in the game when you do a fusion versus an evolution, the fusion's name of the ball will be whatever the ball is, X, whatever the other ball is.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
Okay. I'm saying cross. Much like the cross button on a PlayStation controller.
Yes.
The other game I checked out was one that was gifted to me, which is Black Dragon Mage. It is a straight up Vampire Survivors clone, but this one is pretty interesting. It actually has a lot more in-depth stuff going on with your builds in terms of Vampire Survivors got really complicated, right? But with just more things that you can acquire for weapons and more evolutions. This one, for instance, has a deal. There are these little potions that you collect on the screen, and if you collect enough potions, you get to turn into a dragon and just like wreak havoc on everything. more easily collect gems. It is very difficult. It does not give you a whole lot of direction as to what to do in your base camp, because in between runs, you go back and you spend your currencies on more weapons and more spells and things like that. But everything is so expensive, and the stuff that I'm getting, I feel like I'm not utilizing correctly. My character has like 6 slots available to it to equip things, and they're all equipped, but I don't understand how I'm supposed to like switch weapons or whatever. So there's something I'm not understanding, but it's just because the game isn't tutorialized very well. But it runs great on a Steam Deck, and if you're looking for a way to scratch the Vampire Survivors itch, I think this one is one of the better ones. It just needs a little bit more explanation. So there you have it. That is Black Dragon Mage. Okay, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. As Zach mentioned, it was kind of fortuitous that we recorded a day later because lots of things happened this morning, actually. First off, over on the GamingOutsiders.com website, you can read some news articles about games like Painkiller, which is coming to PS5, Xbox, and Steam October 9th. There is an update for The Precinct that has a solo mode update available. Also, if you own an Audi, the vehicle, they have partnered with Air Console, and you can actually... Let me rephrase. The passengers in your vehicle can play games on your Audi screen. There is a physical edition of the Turok trilogy coming this October. A new game called Midnight Walkers was announced. It's coming to Steam in Q4 of 2025 and consoles next year. There's also a new trailer for Bubble Bobble Sugar Dungeons coming to PS5, Switch, and PC winter. I know, I got excited about Bubble Bobble until I heard the subheading, which just made me not as interested. And then Fallen Tier The Ascension got a new trailer. That game is coming to Steam and consoles, and I think that one is worth checking out. It's a really interesting looking gear-gated game. In other news, the Street Fighter movie is getting some interesting casting. Nintendo Switch Online is getting another GameCube game for its expansion pass. And in sad news, Microsoft's layoffs aren't just a rumor anymore. It is official. And lastly, the game Ready or Not is being review bombed on Steam. I think that was a pretty interesting story. But Zach, you got first crack this week. What story would you like to talk about?
I'll leave the sad stuff for later and talk about some confusing stuff with the game Ready or Not.
Yeah,
because I thought this was interesting. Because it's getting review bound on Steam, despite the fact that it released December 17th, 2021. Because it's finally coming to consoles, and they had to tone down some of the material. And the developer Void said, "We had to adjust levels of gore, nudity, violence, and the mistreatment of children ahead of the July 15th console release. And rather than maintaining multiple versions," there's nothing funnier than the mistreatment of children to Jacob, "maintaining multiple versions with different assets and mechanics that would increase the likelihood of bugs. Some aspects of the PC version have also been revised. Steam players are angry, saying the PC version shouldn't get changed, and the Void should port the game separately to consoles with its own version." This is weird because I don't understand it at all.
I see both sides a bit. On one hand, this is a 4-year-old game. How many people that bought this are actively playing it right now? But I
definitely don't understand that argument at all.
But also, like, people are getting what they paid for something at launch, and you expect it to be the same thing that you paid for at launch.
Yeah, I expect every time I watch The Godfather for it to be the same.
Right. Yeah. I mean, games are, completely different. There's a lot more moving parts in there. But the thing, I know we kind of chuckled when they said mistreatment of children. I'm just baffled by
I want to note Jacob chuckled.
There you go.
I chuckled. And mistreatment of children in quotations because they couldn't say child abuse. That would
it's not just flagged. I mean, when you say child abuse, I think domestic child abuse. This is like straight up like a character, like the children are like convulsing and things after they're like, you can kill children in this game apparently, and now they just look like they're sleeping or something when they're dead.
I have been trying to kill children. I have been trying to kill children in video games for years. Ever since Skyrim came out, and there's this little girl in Whiterun that talks all of the crap all of it. I have punched her in the face so many times and nothing has ever happened. And someone finally released a mod that was like, "Oh, children can die." Boom! Yes, it was the first thing I did.
All right. So
Sorry,
I guess
my bad.
we know who I'm talking about then right now.
I really don't know how to proceed from that.
I know.
I think this sucks.
Mhm.
I wish the console makers are so confusing about what is or isn't allowed anyway.
Yeah.
Like, why is Baldur's Gate 3 allowed to have complete nudity head to toe, but Ready or Not can't have nudity? It's just, I don't really understand the differences. Seems very case by case basis rather than actual rule set. I think it is outrageous that Void would change the PC version to match the console version.
Because it's easier to change it all instead of creating a new console version. And they're putting it under the guise of, well, it's going to make it less, it's going to keep us from having bugs. Well, develop it without bugs.
That's a good one. Also, there are other games managed to have different versions if necessary.
Right.
This is a game I was interested in exclusively because of the graphic stuff it was dealing with. It seemed like it wasn't pulling any punches, so this is particularly disappointing that it is here pulling said punches.
I have not played it. I wasn't even aware of the game until this story came up. But I'm kind of torn because I understand the idea of it should be what it was at the beginning. Like, this is what I paid for. It should change. But man, reading some of the stuff that that they do in terms of not pulling punches, like you said, is, man, it's interesting.
Well, it's a game about being like SWAT officers, and you're like raiding, sex trafficking compounds and such. Like, things are gonna get gnarly. That's heavy subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
So to try to dance around it because Xbox or PlayStation has some problems with it, it just seems silly.
Right.
The game was interesting to me due to those things because they are subjects everyone else is afraid of. We live in an era where people don't even say kill anymore; they say unalive online.
That's yeah.
So
that drives me nuts, by the way, dude.
It's unbelievable. So it was pretty refreshing that there was a developer out there who was willing to talk about some, the seedier stuff. But I guess they fell victim to censoring themselves, much like anybody else would these days.
And I've read some other stuff that they did. I don't know if it was in this game or not, or if it was another game they developed that, like, I don't know. This falls under the realm of, like, read the room kind of situation instead of whatever, and maybe it was just a coincidence, but they released like a level that was a nightclub shooting that was like on the anniversary of an infamous nightclub shooting. Like, they like day and date. It was the same date, which,
well, let's hope that was a unfortunate happenstance.
But then, like, really, they were partnered with publisher Team 17, and Team 17 parted ways with them because they announced they were going to do a school shooting level, which, again, if you're a SWAT person, it's not like you are the school shooter.
Right, you're preventing I mean, I assume you would be too late to save all of the children, but yeah. But that's the kind of heavy subject matter that video games should be allowed to tackle.
Right. But anyway, the bottom line about all this is that these owners of this game are review bombing the game because they're not happy with this. And, part of me is like, yeah, they should be, because if the developer is going to make extra money on console ports of this game, then they should be doing the work needed to do it correctly and keep the Steam version the way it is.
Yeah, to me, I don't know if this is. It seems like a slap in the face to people who got you to the point where you could port it.
Yeah.
Interesting story, though. I thought that was it's just one of those things I did not expect to happen.
To Zach's point, it says, in order to meet console standards. So what are the standards? Zach brought up Baldur's Gate with its complete nudity. So if that can get away with that, why can't this get away with all of its stuff? What are the standards? We don't have something
just it
listed out. Yeah, we don't have something listed out.
I mean, there's different standards according to console. Remember Zach always talking about Devil May Cry 5, like
Devil May Cry's butts.
The butt crack was like imaged out on PlayStation, but not on Switch or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I think you could see the full butts on Xbox, but it had a glare over it on PlayStation, as I recall. But I think They did go back and patch it, thus proving even again how silly the standards are. And then the funniest of all, like Nintendo is just like, yeah, throw up your hentai game, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ken Ransager, bring it.
The huge children's platform is just
Right.
like, yeah, we'd love to have this. I don't know. Of course, they're also Japanese, so
Yeah, that's a
So it's
culture
PlayStation.
thing too. Yeah.
this is true. I don't know why I even said anything. Yes,
Yeah.
Sony is unless
Sure.
it's
I guess Nintendo's still run by
SCA.
Japanese people on the board, whereas PlayStation is more Eurocentric at this point.
Right.
Sony Computer Entertainment of America.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Jake, you're up. What story would you like to talk about?
Oh, I'm gonna take the throwaway one. I'm not in the mood for any of this stuff.
Which one's that?
I was gonna do the Street Fighter movie, but I want to talk about the Nintendo Switch Online gets another GameCube game, and it's Super Mario Strikers that'll be available July 3rd. Tomorrow? Today? What? Tomorrow. This is the fourth GameCube game that will hit the library. The others being Wind Waker, F-Zero GT, and Soul Calibur 2.
GX.
The other games, GX. My bad. What did I say?
You said GT, like it's a
Oh, my bad. It's a
car racing game. It is a car.
Yeah.
The other games confirming that are coming later are Super Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance, and Pokemon Coliseum, which I will probably also play Pokemon KFCM.
KFCM.
I'm hungry. I'm sorry.
Finger licking good Pokemon.
Right. Pokemon
as,
Coliseum, I will probably play.
As proud Switch 2 owners, does this 20-year-old Mario soccer game get you excited?
Yes, I need a soccer game. I'm gonna get rid of Rocket League, and I'm gonna go play Mario Strikers.
I never played Strikers, but I heard it was a lot of fun. I just
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was a lot
missed
of fun.
this one, and the Sluggers one I also missed out on. I heard that one was really good.
Yeah, my
But,
brothers and I played a lot of Strikers back in the day.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that Super Mario Sunshine is coming, considering it was on the 3D collection
Yeah.
that is discontinued or whatever.
We'll say, well, yeah, you only had a few months to buy it, so what
Is
difference
this
does it make?
why?
No,
Like, is
there is no real reason for what they did.
Yeah, because it was Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Odyssey.
Galaxy,
That was
Galaxy.
Galaxy.
but not Galaxy 2.
Where's Galaxy 2?
I don't know.
Is it Odyssey the newest one?
Odyssey is
Right.
the latest one,
Yeah,
which was,
yeah.
man, that's like 5 years ago now.
2017.
Jeez.
2017?
Yeah.
Stop speaking.
Oh my
Things
goodness.
happen. Things are happening fast.
Things are really happening fast, but I still want to play Wind Waker. I think that's going to be my my vacation travel game.
Mm.
I'm going.
Yeah, I think if I had a Switch 2, I would be primarily playing Wind Waker for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bad as it is.
Oh,
Dude, I played a Switch 2 in Best Buy, by
As
the way.
bad as it is.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yes, and dude, I get it. The thing's nice.
I've been
It's-
talking.
Yeah, the screen
It's-
alone is unbelievable.
Sleek.
Oh, but if you
Way
ask the
better than
internet,
that.
the screen is terrible. I saw somebody post a video. Somebody sent me a video that said this person did a test of the Switch 2 with a hammer to the screen and said, "See, it cracks the screen." Well,
What?
it's a hammer.
Yeah, that's
Like-
weird.
Like, I'm not letting my kid use this thing if you can take a hammer to it and break it. Well, that's okay.
You know what?
I sawed this boat in half. That's a lot of
hammer.
damage.
You know what else a hammer could break? A mistreated child's skill.
Yeah, with their fingers.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh wait, mistreatment of children. I gotta watch what I say.
Yeah. Do watch out.
yeah. We're gonna get censored.
No, yeah, but also just the hand feel I thought was great. It's a big step. It's a huge improvement from the Switch 1.
Do they let you detach the Joy-Cons
No
in
no,
the in the store
No,
thing?
of
Okay.
course
No.
not.
That'd
I-
be insane.
Everyone, shoot, run.
I know
Yeah.
it sounds. Well, I didn't know if they would. There was a way to detach them and have it still connected to it. I don't know. Anyway,
No.
I
They nailed
wish,
them on.
They nailed them on. I wish you could see how they feel going, like connecting. I know it seems like a silly thing to really be like a big selling point, but I know we were all concerned about the magnets being able to hold those things in place. They are held in place really well as we tested. But
I like the feel of sliding my controller in to my.
do you?
Just, the
Yeah,
way
you
that you
do.
said that, I wish you could feel putting them in.
Wish you could feel how it
they
slides
slide
in.
Oh my god! I wouldn't know they snap in. That sounds less dirty. I forgot to
Correct
tell you,
on
by the way,
top.
Zach. I think it was you that told me I was able to change the orientation,
Oh, on the Wind Waker, yeah, on the
in
camera.
the look. So it's kind of buried in a weird way, but it is there. So now I am not banging my head against a wall trying to play this game, and looking forward to getting back into it. So,
Oh, you and your pilot controls for every game?
yeah, that's how I've done it my whole
Hell
life,
yeah,
man.
dude. That's the right way, son.
No.
Yeah, Scott, you're in good company. Okay.
I appreciate
Bad
it.
company.
So I love how you guys leave me with the bad news.
Oh, you talking about the Street Fighter casting? Yeah, it's
Oh,
pretty rough.
Man, we just gonna gloss over the big news. Okay, let's talk about the Street Fighter casting.
You gotta talk. Just avoiding it, dude. Street Fighter. Jason Momoa as Blanca. 50
What is
Cent
Blanca going to look like? I don't even know what Blanca is going to be at this point.
Is he going to be doing his funny wacky guy thing? He's not
Who?
very good at that.
Jason Momoa?
Yeah.
I mean, Blanca wasn't really.
No, I know, but I just feel like even the second Aquaman, he went all goofy.
Yeah, but then there's
Jason-
also Game of Thrones.
I know, but that was a long time ago. Jason Momoa, he's been in that kind of wacky guy mood for a few years now. That's what I'm saying.
That's fair, but I don't know how you make Blanca whack. I don't even know much about Blanca, honestly.
I mean, I don't know how you make Blanca a serious character, regardless. But
Right.
I don't know. He's got a better chance than David Dasmelchian as M. Bison.
Who is that? Is that the guy that's
Polka Dot Man from
Okay.
Suicide Squad?
So he's that guy that's like played smaller roles in other movies. Like I know him from. This is gonna sound weird. I know him from Dark Knight.
Oh yeah, as the fake Joker guy.
Yes, he wore the name tag with Rachel Dawson's name in the car. You know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
I couldn't tell if that was actually who we were talking about or not, but yeah, I don't think he seems a little not tough.
M. Bison's kind of a beefy, somewhat intimidating fella.
Right.
So I don't know. You know, I mean, we've seen big transformations of actors before, but yeah, I don't.
You better be
I don't
hitting the
really
gym like
understand.
right now.
Right.
he should have been hitting the gym like 3 years ago.
What about 50 Cent as Balrog? Do you think that's perfect casting?
That's gonna be funny.
Yeah, are they making a comedy? Roman Reigns as Akuma?
I don't know. Is that a wrestler? I don't even know.
He's a wrestler.
50 Cent is Balrog. I mean, at least 50 Cent has acted before, but I don't know that I've seen what he's acted in.
Yeah, I can't remember. I mean, Get Rich or Die Trying. 50 Cent Blood on the Sand. That might have been his finest performance.
Dude, that game was great.
Of course.
We played that a little bit when you were here that one time, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Yo, Fitty. Bomb that door.
Yeah, and then Katao Sakurai is set to direct the movie, although its current release date has been indefinitely postponed. But what are they doing? What are they doing with this thing? This is a money laundering operation, or what's the plan here?
Whatever it is, I'm going to see it. Aaron Hughes says, "Oh, because he acted so well in Blood in the Sand." I mean,
man, he needs his crystal skull. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I forgot about that. Was the story of that game? Is they're just
because he pulled out when he put a show on in Iraq, right?
Yeah,
a concert, and then they didn't pay him. They were going to pay him a crystal skull, but then I think a terrorist stole it, so they had to. He's gonna kill all the terrorists and get his crystal skull.
You know,
back.
whatever. That game was super fun.
Hell yeah, dude! It was awesome.
That was just such a great. That was a great weekend co-op game,
like, for sure.
Yeah, and just ridiculous enough to. That was more than just enough, but
it was pretty.
I keep the one I'm really curious on is what are they going to do with Guile, because I heard that what's his name, Richson, the guy that plays Reacher, was in talks to play Guile, Alan Richson, which is interesting. I saw somebody else, another wrestler that was being talked about. Oh, and there's Vega is reportedly being played by the actor's name is escaping me, but he's a musician that always wears a mask on stage. So like, oh, he wears a mask, that'll work. Like for Vega,
is it Ivan something?
No, it was like one word. Like it was like, not Prince or the artist formerly. It was like he's got this, or maybe it was two names. I don't know, but there it is. Orville Peck. Orville Peck. I was wrong.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that musician, but Yeah, he wears like I tried looking up to see if he looked like Vega, and he wears a mask. So
So he does.
He does. He looks a lot like him.
Spitting image.
But bottom line, I already said it. I don't care what happens. I'm going to see this movie. I'm
Really?
genuinely more intrigued to see this than I was the Mortal Kombat remake. Even though the Mortal Kombat was great, dude.
That was fun. Mortal Kombat was a fun movie.
Mortal Kombat was a surprise. I didn't expect Mortal Kombat to be great. I went into it being like, I'll see it because it's a video game movie, but I'm not expecting great things. And it wound up being awesome.
Yeah.
But now I know they can make something like that cool. I'm I'm more intrigued now to see Street Fighter than I was to see Mortal Kombat at the time.
Is David Dasmalchian here going to get to whip out the "For me, it was Tuesday" line?
I don't remember that. Is it from the movie?
Yeah, dude, it was one of the coolest lines in cinema history, and it just happened to be in Street Fighter.
Man, I saw that movie once when I was like 13, and I was so disappointed.
Dude, but Gomez Adams, he's like crap talking one of the leads. He's like, "For you, it was the day your village was burned to the ground, and you lost your father, and you swore revenge. And your whole life was altered. For me, it was Tuesday."
Because he was Bison.
That's awesome.
So that's an awesome line, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a terrible movie.
I was gonna say, wasn't he like the standout thing of that movie? Like he was, he was
given 110%. Everyone
else wasn't he like sick?
Oh yeah,
time too or something. Like he was like
he was cancer, right? But he was doing it because his kid was a huge Street Fighter fan or something.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, one more story to talk about. This dropped this morning. We've been hearing rumors about the Microsoft layoffs. They're not just a rumor anymore. A memo was sent to the staff from Phil Spencer either yesterday or this morning. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but we will highlight it in just a second. But it seems like developer King, who did Candy Crush, was hit the hardest. A total of around 9,100 employees, or 4% of Microsoft staff. Not Xbox staff. This is like 4% of Microsoft, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Yeah.
Rare's Everwild was canceled. The new MMORPG from ZeniMax Online, who made Elder Scrolls Online, is canceled. Raven, developer of Call of Duty, was hit with layoffs. Nearly half of Turn 10 staff of Forza Motorsport was laid off. The Initiative, developer of Perfect Dark, straight up closed, and that game was canceled. And the only real positive we get from this is that it's reported that everything shown at the Microsoft Game Showcase will still be safe, which explains why Perfect Dark wasn't shown at the Microsoft Game Showcase. Now,
neither was Fable. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Fable wasn't shown there. There's no way. There's no way Fable is not going to make it. This is insane. But here's the thing I want to mention. Again, there's a long message you can find anywhere online. I'm not going to read through the entire note here, but there is one section of this note that made me stand up and go, dude, what?
Can't wait.
Here's what he said. I recognize that these changes come at a time when we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. I mean, I shouldn't even have to read on. What he's basically saying there is
we are the most successful that we've ever been, and yet you guys are fired.
Our platform hardware and game roadmap have never looked stronger.
The success we've seen currently is based on tough decisions we've made previously, i.e., we bought ABK. And we got to make up for it somehow. So sorry, guys. We must make choices now for continued success in future years. And a key part of that strategy is the discipline to prioritize the strongest opportunities. We will protect what is thriving and concentrate effort on areas with the... Okay, it goes on.
Dude, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please do.
It's just wording like this is always just such a... I mean, they may as well be just pouring gasoline in and lighting you on fire if you're one of the people getting laid off, because they're basically telling you you're useless and you've been weighing us down.
Yeah.
It's I refuse to believe that 50% of Turn 10, probably your most consistent developer, putting out a Forza every couple of years, half of them were useless.
Yeah, it's like one of their staple franchises, right?
Yeah. Or I guess did Rare got layoffs too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sea of Thieves, this huge seller on both PlayStation and Xbox.
It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I was shocked by Perfect Dark.
Yeah, I'm less shocked by that than I think you are because we've seen so little of it, and it
Mhm.
seemed like it was never in good shape. Right, remember they had to bring on Crystal Dynamics to help out as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just never seemed the game never really seemed like it was going to happen.
I mean,
Anyway,
I know it looked really like we didn't see gameplay, but of the cutscenes and stuff we saw, it looked like, well, this isn't that far off. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
right? But I guess you can always make. I mean, look at remember like how good Watch Dogs looked. You can always punch something up.
That's true.
You know,
Oh, man, that first reveal for Watch Dogs, remember that?
yeah, dude.
Aaron Hughes in our comments says, "Is there some positional consolidation in there too, like with all the acquisitions bringing in more staff that than ones that already had become redundant in some way?" They talked about that. It was a lot of managerial staff, but I mean, this news literally broke like a couple hours before we started recording today. So, like, things are coming out throughout the day. This is just the most updated information we have, but I
Right.
did
Well,
read that it was a lot of middle management. But
yeah. Well, and that is the most useless position at any corporation. But I doubt they had 9,100 middle managers.
right, exactly.
Yeah. The canceling Everwild also seems like a no-brainer. That probably should have been canceled years ago. Although it is funny because it was only like a few months ago when Phil Spencer's like, "Dude, we believe in Everwild. That's why we're giving it so much time. That game's gonna be great."
Isn't it like a decade?
Yeah.
Like it's close.
So it's just really funny that like the guy who runs Xbox is like, "Dude, that game's gonna be one of the best. That's why it's taking so long." And then like 3 months later, he's like, "Yeah, that game's gone. Can't even
Right.
stand the sight of it. Get it away from me."
The thing that just this kind of stuff just makes me angry. We talk about layoffs throughout the year, it seems
Of
like.
course, yeah.
And we've talked about how it doesn't make any sense when things are thriving better than ever.
Yes.
And it just doesn't seem like the right time to do it. But it makes me think that when things are good, that if I'm looking for a job, getting a job when things are good is not a good time to do it because it's just clearly there just because, hey, we've got the money, might as well do this, but it's not going to be secure.
So this paragraph stands out to me
All right.
because it's weird. It just says prioritizing our opportunities is essential, but that does not lessen the significance of this moment. Simply put, we would not be where we are today without the time, energy, and creativity of those whose roles are impacted. These decisions are not a reflection of talent, creativity, and dedication of the people involved. Our momentum is not accidental. It is a result of years of dedication, effort from our teams. Okay, so these people are so important to you. Why are you firing them?
I was say that it really does not line up well with his statement 2 paragraphs ago.
Right.
You
guys are all really important to us.
You guys are awesome, and here's how we're going to reward you.
Yeah. We wouldn't be here without you. Now I can't wait to get you out of my sight.
And again, upper management, executive level management, they're still going to make their crap ton of money.
Sure, the CEO of Microsoft never has to see these people or interact with them. So to him, they're just numbers on a spreadsheet, right? So what does he care?
What does it matter? If this one can work with 50% less people, we're gonna make it work.
Right.
Dude, Aaron Hughes again in the chat. He's popping off today, saying more indies and incredible experiences like Claire Obscure. I mean, he's right. Like, if I were AAA, like so many of the most, or Jeff Keighley, he's pointed out on every stage, right? Like over half of the top 10 sellers on Steam are always these indies. Like AAA should be a little afraid.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many great experiences in the indie or AA realm.
Yeah, and every round of Ubisoft layoffs can produce another Clear Obscure team.
Right.
Yeah, that's cutting into your profits, Microsoft.
Unless you're just a manager, then you're
useless.
But we're coming to a day and age where there's so much technology out there. We don't need a large scale team to spend years to make these games. You know, in a couple of years, a team of 50 can make a great game. And so why have these, 10,000 man teams making a game that, what Concord took 8 years of development for Sony and it died within a week. So, Take a lesson, everybody.
Yeah.
Indy's where it's at.
And I don't even know what to say in times like this, because I feel like we're going to hear about this story on every podcast and every news cycle for the next week or two, right? Like, oh, thoughts and prayers. I can't do it. Like, but I'm also part of the problem. I'm an Xbox fan. I own an Xbox, and I'm not going to stop paying for Xbox games. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not a boycotter, but
Sure.
at the same time, it makes you think. Like
most boycotters aren't boycotters either.
right, but at least I admit it now. You know
Yeah,
what I
that's what I'm
mean?
saying. Most people that say, "Oh, I'll never buy anything from Microsoft again," and then 2 weeks later they're not using Microsoft Office because you have to.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or because you don't want to learn a new software. But yeah,
And I mean, and at what point does a company like Xbox start to absorb some of those losses from the rest of Microsoft that is doing exceedingly well? And like, why can't Xbox or Microsoft take care of itself? I don't know.
They're probably all subsidiaries, and so any losses of the subsidiaries don't actually affect the parent company.
Also, it doesn't matter how good you do, right? Because the next quarter you have to do better. You can never just be doing the $90 and the $90 billion in profit every 3 months is never enough, right? It's got to be $91 billion the next quarter, and then 95 the next.
Yeah,
it's absurd.
Positive percentages.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
No. And I'm just. It's easy for me to say this from a middle class standpoint, but I just don't understand the mentality of I don't have enough money. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
At what point have you had enough? Are you good? I mean, some of these executives have made enough money to sustain them for the rest of their lives and then their grandkids' lives as well.
Right.
And they just still need more. And they're just there's no empathy.
Yeah.
I'm getting on my soapbox here.
Big word. No. I think there's a severe lack of empathy in general, I feel like, these days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's not just the CEOs or anything. It's also the investors. The investors want their money and all that kind of stuff.
Got to make those people that have all the money happy. Screw everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm biting my tongue really hard right now with things that have gone on in our country these last couple of days, but I'm not going to go there. Sure. Instead, let's shift directions and talk about something positive. Jake.
Probably for the best. God.
Can you tell everybody about the Rock River Valley Video Game Convention coming up in October?
You mean R2V2, our convention that we throw right here in Rockford, Illinois? That one?
That is the
Rock
one.
River Valley video game? The one where we have local businesses, Rockford Go, and some of our friends help us throw a convention? Yeah. I love that. I would love to tell you more about that stuff. We bring musicians, developers, collectors, and players all together in one area to join in the celebration of video games. Isn't it awesome? So this year we're having Jer, a solo pianist out of Chicago, the Adventurers Guild, and Arc Impulse as musical entertainers for the after show. And you can get tickets for both the show and the convention for just $10 right now for another week or 2 weeks. July 14th is the last day to get them on sale.
So that's $5 for the convention, $5 for the concert if you buy it in advance.
Yep. Yeah. And you can buy tickets at our Eventbrite page. Just look up R2V2.
Very cool. Make sure we have a link for that in the show notes as well. Also want to remind everybody about Patreon. If you like the show and would like to support us, you can do so at patreon.com/thegocast. And there you will get, if you sign up for $3, you get all of our episodes ad-free, and you also get access to any of our bonus content for only $3 per month. We would appreciate it. I was actually thinking about this, Jake. Zach and myself have both done a Married to the Mic episode where we did an episode with our wives.
I don't think I've done one.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe we could convince Mindy to come do a Married to the Mic episode with you. That'd be fun.
Oh, I thought you were speaking to the audience and not me.
No, I was talking to you.
You just were rambling off names.
Yeah. I think he was trying to tell you to do one.
You don't have to convince me to do one. You have to convince Mindy.
I will convince Mindy. I'm very persuasive. Very persuasive. But anyway, if you'd like to help us out again, patreon.com/thegocast. And with that, it is time for us to talk about the new games that we've been playing. Zach, is it just me, or are these lists getting smaller and smaller these last couple of weeks?
Very, very light week this week. It almost kind of reminds me of when we were younger, and there would be no video games the whole summer.
Yeah, right.
Remember that?
Why would we sell video games in the summer? It's not like kids are off.
yeah. That it was kind of confusing, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But on July 8th, Subnautica, Jacob, this is for you. Coming to iOS and Android. You can play wherever you want to play it.
I need to know how that works.
Yeah, Lord knows. Missile Command Delta continues Atari's attempt to reimagine their old franchises. It comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And then on July 10th, we have the game that this is probably a reason nothing else is releasing, because why bother? EA Sports College Football 26 on PS5 and Xbox Series consoles, and Ground of Aces, a flight-based simulator coming to PC. Not a long list, but Jake, if you had to pick one.
Oh, EA Sports College Football 26. That's
You're
my
lying.
bread and butter.
Sounds like a you game.
I not that I'm actually going to play it, but I just need to see how Subnautica works on an Android.
Okay.
I just hurt my feelings saying that.
What about you, Scott?
Actually, I'm probably not going to play it, but I think Ground of Aces looks interesting. It's not really a flight simulator. I mean, it's more like managing.
That's what I said. It's a flight-based simulator.
Oh, base simulator. Okay, I misheard what you said. I think the thing that intrigues me the most about that is just the cell shaded art style, which I've not seen in that kind of game, and I think it looks interesting. But I got too much to play, really.
Yeah, with you, if I had to pick one, it would be Ground of Aces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's got a very sharp aesthetic for sure. Looks good.
I agree.
I'm just envisioning myself drowning to death in the depths, like trying to swipe the screen up to get back to the surface as fast as possible.
Get the shark away from me. I don't know. Are there sharks in some? There's got to be sharks, right?
There's shark-ish things.
Let's say it's an alien planet, right? Is
Yes.
that right, or am I making that up? Okay.
No, there are shark-like creatures in the game.
Okay.
I've never played Subnautica.
They look like dolphin squids.
Is that due to your thessalophobia, Scott?
No, I have nothing like that. I've just never got around to it. I've heard people tell me multiple times that it's a very great game and I would like it, but I've just never got around to it for some reason.
It is a game that matches like fear with comedy. Like just going into the dark, like is afraid, and then your little computer will pop up and be like, there's danger in the area. Make sure whatever you're doing is worth it.
I do appreciate that.
All right, we're going to move on to the new games we've been playing. Before I do, I want to make sure that I let everybody know, if you like what you hear and want to see what we're talking about, there are links for the trailers for each of the games we're talking about in the show notes of this very episode, so you can check them out there. Zach, I want to start with you because I'm a little jealous. You got to play Pipistrello and the Cursed Yoyo, which from the trailer looks like a throwback to, Link's Awakening style gameplay. It looks awesome. Overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. Please tell me it's awesome.
What if I told you Pipistrello and the Cursed Yoyo was a Game of the Year contender?
Get out, really?
This game's awesome. Very Game Boy Advance. So not quite Link's Awakening, be more what Minish Camp.
Okay.
In terms of the style that I'm getting from it. In fact, when you boot up the game, you watch the Pipistrello virtual cartridge enter a fake handheld, and then it boots up to the main screen.
Oh, that's cool.
So they're very much leaning into the handheld feel of the game. Yeah, I'm playing it on PS5. It is so Zelda it hurts. It is very, very
sold.
Zelda.
I need to go buy this.
There are MacGuffins you have to get. There are 4 mega batteries, they're called, each held by a different boss in each of the corners of the map.
Only 4, huh?
Well, yes. So there's only 4, but there are 8 dungeons really, because you have to do like a pre-dungeon before you get to the boss dungeon. Basically, it'll be different. It'll be silly things like you can't get into the museum without your government ID or something like that. So you got to go to the police station, but the line's too long. So now you're trying to cut around the back to get your government ID. So now there's a whole dungeon to solve.
Is this like a real actual story beat in the game?
Yes. Yeah. I can't remember if you need the ID for the museum or not, but I do. You go to get your ID and the line's too long. So Pippet, your main character, decides like, well, I guess I'll just break in and get my ID, as a shortcut.
Paul Hines says the pre-meeting before the meeting.
Yeah, definitely. But you're playing as Pipistrello. He is the nephew to Madame Pipistrello. She's she owns the energy company of the town, but because she found kind of a renewable energy source, but of course is hoarding it to herself. And that's your aunt. And then these 4 bad guys are upset at the way she's running her energy company and, shortchanging the little guy. So they go to suck her soul into this machine, but accidentally her soul gets separated into the mega batteries. And that's kind of the setup. And then part of her soul is trapped in your yo-yo, which is cursed. She is the cursed yo-yo.
Oh.
So you're hanging out with your aunt. You're kind of learning that maybe she's not a good person, kind of have a monopoly on the energy industry, but you do want your allowance. So what are you going to do?
And you use her to throttle bad guys.
That's right. Yeah,
you're playing the bad guy with superpowers, beating the hell out of.
Well, you're the nephew of the bad guy, right?
I mean, ultimately, you're trying to save the bad guy.
Well, because she covers your entry fees into your local yo-yo competitions. So without her, you can't live your yo-yo dreams. All right.
Fair enough. I take back everything.
And Pippin plays 356 in the last tournament, so he's getting up there. He's got a dream.
Money well spent.
Yes.
Out of what, 357?
Probably. But as you could tell from this, it's a very light tone to the proceedings. It kind of mixes a comedy with not necessarily a message. I guess like a kid learnable lesson about monopolies, because the setting is kind of an urban cityscape. So your overworld is like the downtown of New Jolt City, I believe it is called, and that's your Hyrule field.
Oh, okay,
as it were. And you can enter different there, and there's so much to find. Like if you beeline the dungeons, you could probably beat the game. I would say like 8 hours probably.
Oh, okay.
But there's probably double that and just side stuff you can find and do, because there's heart containers, but instead of hearts, they're roses. So you find 8 rose petals. There's badge points you can unlock, and you can equip badges kind of Paper Mario style to augment your abilities. So there's a lot to find in the environment.
Game of the Year contender. What makes this one so good?
It's just, I mean, as long as you're nostalgic for the era anyway, it's probably a Game of the Year contender. I don't know if it would be otherwise, but it does do some clever stuff. I mean, it is, so instead of, finding a boomerang and a bow and arrow or what have you, in the dungeon, you're like seeing the way enemies behave or something, and it gives Pippet an idea for a new yo-yo trick. Okay. And then that allows you to do different things, you can do the walk the dog trick, yo-yo trick, but really that it just sends your yo-yo off at high speed and just drags you along by the string, so you can get over hazardous waste on the ground via that or something like that.
That's
so that's
clever.
Get to new areas, or you can you might learn to ricochet your yo-yo off the wall, and it gives you little boosts over a gap, so that way you can aim over bottomless pits and stuff. It's you never know what you're going to get next, and it is a lot of fun, and it has that Zelda feel of you get the new ability in the dungeon, and now you have new things to do in the dungeon, and it plays into how you beat the boss, because the game is very puzzle oriented in general. So it's
you sold me 4 minutes ago. I'm gonna pick this up. I did not realize this was on Xbox as well. So
oh yeah, dude, you got to play it. It's very good. Very it does the Zelda thing where you solve you're stuck on a puzzle for 2 minutes, and then you solve it, and you're like, yeah, I'm smart, even though everyone else has to solve that puzzle too. But it does the good trick of making you feel smart in the moment, which is not the easiest thing to pull off.
Agreed.
I do want to give special mention to the upgrade system, because it's awesome, which is rare for me. It is kind of skill tree-esque in that it does have it has like 4 layers and they kind of intertwine and such. But when you pick your upgrade, you're given it ahead of time, but you get put into debt.
Oh,
And every coin you collect, half of the money you bring in goes towards your debt. And in addition to the debt that you're paying off, you have a negative effect, like you might have 1 less hit point while you're earning this upgrade, basically.
I've never seen that before.
So it's like it's a very interesting risk reward. Like, I'm about to go into this hard dungeon. Is it worth me having 4 less attack power to get this? I want this perk where I no longer take damage when I fall into gaps. But is it going to be worth it for me if I accidentally, I might run into the boss, and have 4 less attack power? That's not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of want to pick your upgrades based on what you think you're going to be doing for the next little bit. It's really clever, and it makes me constantly thinking about the upgrades.
How are the bosses? Because I think that was one of the things in Zelda games is that you use whatever ability or whatever item you acquired in that dungeon to beat the boss. Are you using those tricks to defeat a boss?
Yeah, I would say they're not necessary to beat the boss, but they help beat the boss usually.
Okay.
Like if you could figure out the clever way to use that ability, it'll probably be a lot easier, but it is not strictly necessary. You can just whack them with a yo-yo to death, but they each have 3 phases and they have increased complexity for each.
Very good. Again, that is Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo. You're playing it on PS5,
right?
But it is also available on Steam and Xbox. And I didn't see Switch, but I'm assuming
it's on Switch.
On Switch, so $20,
right? Yeah,
it's got to be sold.
Yeah, it's definitely worth $20. Like I said, if you really wanted to do everything in this game, you could probably get 16 plus hours out of it, I would think.
Maybe that'll be my vacation game. Really just get it on Switch instead.
I mean, it's the it's just the whole time I'm playing it, I'm thinking about you.
Yeah,
it's just not in a dirty way.
I didn't take it that way. Jacob did. If you look at his face, he started smirking and giggling.
But no, just because it is very, very Zelda, and unlike a lot of other Zelda likes, I guess, I don't know what, for lack of a better term, it does kind of hone in on the puzzle aspect that makes the Zelda game so satisfying to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like a lot of Zelda style games, they really lean into combat. So I don't know, it was nice.
And Aaron Hughes did confirm it is on Switch, $19.99 digital. So there is. Or
it does have a physical version, which I was surprised to see, like a regular retail version.
With the game actually on the cartridge and disc?
On the disc. Yeah, I guess cartridge or Switch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Speaking of puzzlers, I could not figure out a good enough segue for this. So, Zach, you're playing Anniversary Edition of Worms Armageddon.
Every match of Worms Armageddon is a puzzle you have to solve, Jacob.
I don't think I've ever played a Worms game.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. You guys made fun of me for not playing Hitman last year, but you've made it this long without even accidentally playing a Worms game?
It never looked intriguing to me.
Wow. Not even like Scorched Earth on PlayStation back in the day?
I did not want to play as a worm. Thank you.
Oh, man.
But they make funny little noises.
That's fine. I've played plenty of games.
I'm coming to get you.
Dude, Worms
you'll pay for this.
Great.
Dude, the Worms game have a holy hand grenade, and when you throw it, it says hallelujah before exploding and destroying like a third of the map.
To be fair, Fallout has a holy hand grenades as well.
Well, I wonder where they got it from.
Oh, this is great. Aaron Hughes says, so you mean Jake has never played Earthworm Jim?
I hate you because I love that game. I didn't even think about that when I said it.
He's a worm.
He's a strictly non-worm gamer.
He has an amazing suit that allows him to do other things other than being a worm.
Jake's like, I don't want to play as a worm, but I've played half of every game that involves me playing as a worm.
But if you want your worm to do a karate chop, first he puts on a kung fu headband. Does that do anything for you? It sounds like you like worms when they're dressed up.
Yes, I like when worms are fancily dressed.
Now, to be clear, this isn't a new game. This Anniversary Collection's been out for a minute, right?
Yes, yeah. So they added a few other versions of Worms, and that's kind of what prompted us to check it out. Because it got a little refresh.
Yes.
I think there's a Game Boy version in there now, for instance.
I didn't even know there was a Game Boy version of Worms.
Neither did I. Yeah. But the crux of what you're getting here is Worms Armageddon, which is the best Worms. I think pretty much universally agreed upon. That is definitely where it peaked. There have been great Worms HD is another banger Worms game, of course, on the Xbox 360. But what you're mostly getting here is the Worms Armageddon. I think I played it on PS1 a lot back in the day.
Me too.
That's where I got my action. And you get some other bonus versions, which are really fun novelties to check out. But whenever I'm playing the Game Boy version of Worms, all I'm thinking is, boy, I sure wish I was playing Worms Armageddon.
Mm-hmm. Isn't there like a Super Nintendo version in there too?
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Which is cool because as I learned through the documentary part of the package, the 16-bit versions didn't actually come out in the States before. So it's pretty.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's why I didn't recognize it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, how old are these games?
Oh man, Worms is
94. Yeah. Oh, 94. Oh man, I just did this part of the documentary yesterday. 94, 95, I think was the first Worms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was originally being made by one fella, and then he got a publisher deal at Team 17. One of those cool stories where he just showed it off at a video game convention, and then like 10 minutes later, the producer's like, "Yep, we'll publish this."
That's awesome.
Which is always a cool story. Yeah, it's but if you're a Worms fan, this is more Worms. Plenty of Worms versions, as it were. Aaron Hughes confirms it is 1995. Thank you. And
this is on PC too, Jake. I'm surprised you don't remember.
And there's also just been so many Worms games.
Right.
I am only recently of the PC master race. You are going to have to give me a break. I had PlayStation.
Well, like we mentioned, I wonder if anybody out there remembers. There was I want to say it was like a Microsoft DOS game called Scorched Earth that was like before Worms was a thing. It was actual tanks, and you actually had to measure like the angle and the power and everything that.
They talk about that a little bit in the because this is made by Digital Eclipse, the people who do the Gold Master Series stuff, and they reference artillery genre, I think they called it, which had that Scorched Earth thing you're talking about with the tanks on the two sides. You had to like kind of blast through the thing in the middle. So you could start angling your tanks over. Yeah, that's what inspired Worms, or was it originally called Total Wormage?
Total Wormage is what it was called originally.
And then
instead of Carnage.
No offense to the original creator. Thankfully, a Team 17 producer said, no, we're going to call it Worms.
Yeah.
Because I think Total Wormage doesn't roll off the tongue quite the same way.
And doesn't really, I guess Worms doesn't tell you what it is either, but
it's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
You're playing as Worms. But otherwise, it is a very true to Worms Armageddon. It is not very touched up. Or it doesn't look terrible, I guess, on a modern screen. But I'm saying, like, it's not a remaster or anything. It is the original version of the game, just polished up for current consoles. I could not find an online multiplayer match, which is a little disappointing.
Well, this game's been out for a while,
but you would assume that people would play Worms, I guess.
Yeah.
Worms is about multiplayer. To me, obviously the most fun way to play Worms is to just pass the controller to people in the room
when you're in shoulder punching distance.
Yes, or in how could you do that distance?
Who punches people anymore?
Or
because like every level is randomly generated, or you get that one guy who's like right on the peak of a mountain, so you can just easily baseball bat him off. And you're like, okay, cool. So I just get a guaranteed one less worm. Cool.
Yeah. Or like you're like in a really bad spot where you can't hit anybody. You're like kind of underneath a crevice or whatever, and it's like this is really bad.
You have to spend like 3 turns just digging out of the hole you started in just to get to the battlefield. Yeah.
But that randomness makes the games pretty great. So
yeah, dude, Worms is all about you pick a team, you name it after people and then you watch your friends get killed in a match of Worms. I was just disappointed I couldn't find anybody playing online. That's all.
This would be a fun one to get a group together. Can you do like local or like private lobbies and stuff?
Yes, you can make your own multiplayer lobby. So I would assume you could just invite your friends.
That'd be great.
Yeah, well, just as great as playing FPC Firebreaker rematch or something.
Yeah, we need to make that happen before I leave town.
No,
we need to make Firebreak happen before no one plays it anymore.
Before they pull it.
Yeah. But if you're a huge Worms fan, pick it up. $24.99. Feels a little steep for essentially one version of Worms, because it is cool for preservation that the other versions of Worms are here, that Super Nintendo version, the Game Boy Color version, but you are here for Worms Armageddon.
Fair enough.
And if it had a livelier multiplayer lobby on PlayStation or something, then I'd probably be more interested. Just because, like, for me, because it would be nice if I had friends local to me. I do not. I realize this is a very me problem, not a Worms Armageddon problem. I just I didn't have a way to play multiplayer, and single player just does not hit the same with Worms.
Oh, totally.
Like Worms, I can't even count how much Worms HD I must have played on 360 back in the day. It was you play Uno for a half hour, Worms for a half hour, and then Gears of War for 6 hours.
You have Uno.
Yeah, I played a lot of Uno.
You could only play 30 to 60 minutes of Uno before something so heinous would happen that you'd have to shut it off for the night.
That's a good point.
On those webcams.
Can't unsee it. I can still see it in my head.
Dude, it's unbelievable the amount of memories I have from the webcams of Uno.
What could possibly go wrong with a webcam on an online video game?
An unmonitored webcam on this card game. What could go wrong?
Crazy. Shout out to Team 17 for hooking up with a copy there. Before we go on to our topic, I want to remind everybody about Facebook, facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. Also Discord. We have a new member over there by the name of Vanadar. Welcome to the community. Hope you're enjoying all the people over there. And lastly, our website, thegamingoutsider.com. You can find all of our episodes as well as all of the news that we've been talking about and other written content like our reviews. For instance, Mark's review of Dunk City Dynasty is available on the site. My review of the film Blue Scooty Tetris Crasher is on there. Jacob's review of Hitman World of Assassination Signature Edition is available. And lastly, Alyssa's review of Filmography. You can read all of those on thegamingoutsider.com. And with that, it is time for us to go to our From the Outside In topic. Last week, I promised you guys that we were going to be doing an episode on protecting children online. We had to reschedule that for next week due to a scheduling conflict with our special guest. So stay tuned for that next week. But that allowed us to keep with our tradition of doing community questions for our first episode of the month. This is the first episode of July. So we asked everybody in the community on Facebook, Twitter, Discord, everywhere to provide us with some video game related questions that we can answer on the show. It's one of the favorite things that we do here at the Gaming Outsider. And we're going to kick things off over on Facebook. Aaron Hughes asked, if you could play something out of your comfort zone, what would it be and why? My easy answer there is anything Dark Souls, Bloodborne. I wish I didn't suck at those games so much. Those are so far out of my comfort zone. And I wish I had the patience to do it because I feel like I'm missing out on so much. Elden Ring, all that.
You got to go in with an NES mentality of expecting to die a lot.
I get that. I mean, it's not like I'm afraid of dying, dude. I played roguelikes are one of my favorite genres, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm used to that. What else was I mean, like, remember how much I liked Volgar the Viking? A notoriously difficult platforming game.
Right. So this is why I know that Souls games are not too hard for you. You play harder games than the Souls games.
Maybe it's like it's like a mentality thing. It's psychological because I see this. Oh, this is a 2D pixelated sprite based game. It's comforting because it's got that nostalgia thing for me. This 3D massive world with these insane looking bosses that are just going to punish me, just are intimidating. I just need to bite the bullet and do it.
Tell you what, we'll play the one that you're most interested in co-op, and then we'll find these bosses together. But then one of the fights, randomly, I'm going to do the dad move when you're teaching your kid to ride a bicycle.
Take your hand off the seat.
Yeah, and I'm just going to not actually hit the boss once and just make you do it on your own. And say, like, told you could do it. And then you could be mad and be like, dude, you're supposed to help me out. Like kids get mad at their dad, even though they just learn how to ride a bike. Yeah.
No, I'm going to help. I'm really going to help. I'm going to totally take this boss down with you.
I have done that with Mindy because we're playing Remnant, and so I'm like, oh hey, we're gonna go do something cool. It's over here, and we'll like be running over there, and I'll just stop and just stand there, and she'll go forward, and things will happen.
Oh, okay. See, this is a time tested method, Scott. So it'll work.
Yeah,
it'll work.
Hey, they're married, so it doesn't ruin relationships. Is what I'm saying.
But you say whichever one you're most interested in. I don't know which one I'm most interested in because you tell me that I should just do Bloodborne. Well, because everything about that,
it's the best one.
Part of me wants to go back to like the remaster of Demon Souls because that's kind of like the beginning of everything, right?
Yeah, that's a great one.
But then everyone says that Dark Souls is people's actual favorite. it was just so revolutionary. And I have good memories of watching Giant Bomb people play that back in the day.
Oh yeah, the series with Vinny. Yeah, that was
Oh my
great.
God, the skeleton kicking him off the side, like it was one of the funniest
man.
moments in
Wow.
online playing that I've ever seen.
What a very specific thing that we somehow both watched.
But it was
Push
like
trap.
it was so funny, like just so
Yeah, dude,
like
no,
neither.
dude.
Oh,
Prime Giant Bomb is unbeatable as a games media group, if you ask me.
oh yeah, man, Ryan Davis was
Oh yeah.
great. I miss Ryan Davis so much. But and then Elden Ring, like Elden Ring came out at the perfect time, right? That was like smack in the middle of COVID, and I still didn't play it. But now Elden Ring Night Rain is out, which
Well, that's a totally different thing, though.
right
From
but
my understanding,
but it's roguelike. It's like you know what I mean.
That's
So
true,
like
yeah.
it sounds like it might scratch the itch a little bit better for me, but I don't know. So I don't know which one. I mean, part of me wants to just do Bloodborne because of your love for it, and I know you would probably enjoy going back and doing it again.
Mhm.
So that's probably going to be my answer. But I'm so torn because like going back to the beginning makes sense, but playing the universally loved Dark Souls makes sense. Playing the most recent one makes sense. You know,
Elden Ring is definitely the most accessible as a way in. I think Bloodborne is the best, no doubt.
I feel like I would need to hop into Bloodborne on my own for a little bit before you join me, just to like reacclimate myself with how to play it, because it's been probably 7 years since I've even fired it up.
I don't know the last time I played it either. I got the platinum and washed my hands of it for a while there. It was a pretty tough platinum.
I can imagine. But dude, it took me forever to get past the first boss, that
Cleric Beast.
Cleric Beast, yes.
Yeah.
But
well, that's why I said like the one you're most interested in, because then that like if it has a setting you'd like, it might pull you through.
I mean, Bloodborne fits that description. That setting seems way cooler than the others.
Super cool, yeah.
It's more than just medieval. You know what I mean?
yeah. I will say Demon Souls is the most straightforward because it's sort of Mario 64 in that you're in a central location and you kind of spoke off into levels.
Oh, really? It's not about like interconnected stuff like Dark Souls?
Well, the levels will like kind of the levels will occasionally like circle back on themselves, but it is much more straightforward design wise.
Will the aha moment still feel cool if we play together? Like because you're gonna know, like the thing about Father Gascoigne, right? Like the trick there. I didn't. Are you still gonna let me figure those out? Like,
yeah, I would Kevin Honigford it.
Okay, all
and
right.
You're like, hey, what do I do with this ribbon? Be like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe I'll do a little Jacob Gunderson. Be like, I don't know. I probably has something to do with the sewers, right?
Sean Coates asked, "What about Jedi Fallen Order? Would that break your hesitation on Souls? Like, I've actually beaten Jedi Fallen Order, Sean, but I did drop it to easy mode, so I kind of cheated."
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
Anyway, you didn't cheat. You played a game and enjoyed it. Just not cheating.
Here, we got
Kevin Honigford writes in and says, "Do you think it took Claire Obscure for Square to acknowledge that turn-based style games are still a viable format?" Can we? I want to let Zach and Jake answer this question, and then can we come back to Kevin's? Because
that one ran so long, I forgot. My bad.
Oh, hey, I didn't skip you guys this time.
Hey, that's very nice. Yeah. For me, a survival game would be the answer. I just can't find the one that hooks me. Like it took Hades for me to like roguelikes. Sometimes you just need that way to crack your brain into it, because now I love roguelikes. So it's just the right game. I'm sure there is a survival game that could do that for me, but I don't know what it is. So that would be what I would like to play, because there's a whole genre of games I'm missing out on there.
Yeah, did you ever go back and play Children of Morta? I don't remember.
No, but that's not a survival game.
No. You were talking about how like you reinvigorated, you started to like rogues.
Oh, and
like that's, I'm not going to say it's as powerful as a Hades in terms of storytelling, but that was the first one that made me go, oh, they can actually tell an interesting story in a rogue. And plus that game is really in terms of like out of your comfort zone. That game forces you to play, well, not forces you, it encourages you to play out of your comfort zone because of the way the leveling works in that I think you might find interesting.
Okay.
They do family attributes. Like you level up things that level up all of your characters, not just the one that you played as. And so you're incentivized to play as the other characters that you don't have their own individual stats up, because it will also increase the family stats quicker than it would if you played the character that you normally play with.
I think I might own this on Steam or something. So
I believe it was my favorite game the year it came out. It's really,
I remember you talking it up big time.
it's really good, and I love games that make you go out of your comfort zone. But I'm with you on the Survivor games. I've never gotten into those at all. I think Jake, you talked about Mindy playing Don't Starve and Don't Starve together, I believe. I try. I just don't get it. They've never appealed to me, and I don't know why. So
Don't Starve, like the aesthetic of it is super cool, and I like Clay, the developer.
Didn't they do Mark of the Ninja?
You did do Mark of the Ninja, but they whenever I boot up Don't Starve, and I've tried so many times over the years, I just feel like I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Build a campfire.
It's in the name.
Well, okay, I can not starve. I do that, but then it's like, what do I do now?
Or the second one that I always, Scott, you know that I like to misname things, so I call the second one "Don't Go Hungry with Friends."
Don't go hungry with friends. What about you, Jake? What's out of your comfort zone?
Actually, part of the reason why I saw Kevin's is because I don't like turn-based games.
Oh,
there are some more strategy-based, like XCOM, like that style of turn-based. I enjoy, but even then, it's starting to get too slow, and I don't feel the sense of urgency. I like walking into a room and then like the big bad thing appears, and then I just go, "Oh man, I have to deal with this like right now." Like I have to, like on the fly, have to take care of everything. Everything else just seems way too slow for me. Like, okay, that's cool that it's there, but I don't have to worry about it for another, few seconds. Whereas if Dark Souls, something appears and screams at me, I'm like, oh man,
you don't have time to think. You just react.
Right, you just do. And so, yeah.
May I suggest Clair Obscur as a place to start?
I mean, I've played like old Final Fantasy games. I played Mega Man X Command Mission. I've played, a bunch of different turn games, but it's if I had a choice between a survival game or a turn-based game or, even a sports game, I would rather choose the sports game versus a turn-based game because I'm doing something in real time.
Huh. Interesting.
I'm just going. I'm not waiting.
All right.
Well, Aaron, doesn't Jake like Baldur's Gate 3? And yes, it is a turn-based game, but it's more. It's further. It's again, it goes on along the lines of like the XCOM. Like I like the strategy behind those ones, and it's still more of like a chess game than an actual just stand there and trade blows. So, yeah,
I don't know, man. You're trading blows. Baldur's Gate 3.
I mean, if someone would do their job and heal, we wouldn't be trading blows. But
all I have is cure wounds right now, man. I'm a low level.
That's it. No, I don't want to hear it.
It's right in the name.
Right. Cure wounds. Do your job.
It does like 4. It replenishes like 4 health. That's all. All right, let's go back to Kevin's comment. And I didn't realize this was a 2-parter. But he says, for Scott, if the world were perfect and everyone understood and recognized that the Sega Genesis, this is Kevin speaking, was and is, again, this is Kevin speaking, indeed better than the Super Nintendo. Notice how last time I did that, he put this video online. Yeah.
Well,
he says, I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, continued. So his real question was, do you think it took Clair Obscur for Square to acknowledge that turn-based style games are still a viable format? Do we have evidence of that? Have they done something else in the meantime that I'm not aware of?
Well, I hate to be this guy, but they've been putting out turn-based games for years and years, right? Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest, Dungeon Counters, Voice of Cards. They do a bunch of turn-based games. They're just not the big budget ones, or they don't have Final Fantasy in the name, I guess.
Correct.
That's probably what he's referring to, is that like Final Fantasy has been doing non-turn based stuff for quite a while. Like even Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth kind of did like a blending of turn based and action, but leaning more towards action. Final Fantasy 16 was straight up action.
Right. Well, that was a Devil May Cry game, basically.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 15 was action. I didn't play 14. 13 was the last turn-based Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, that was great.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder the budget they're making these Final Fantasy games at. Clair Obscur sold well, but it had a couple things going for it. One was people love an underdog, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it really had a lot of momentum at launch. And two, I feel like the budget of a Final Fantasy would be out of control compared to a Clair Obscur. Whether I'm not saying that's good or bad, I'm just saying, they're not. I don't think they're not going to do a numbered Final Fantasy out of moderate budget, even though they should, because they probably make a bunch of money.
Wouldn't that be amazing if like Final Fantasy 17 was just like a sprite-based JRPG with just like an epic story and super complicated?
I mean, that'd be cool, but I mean, even look at how beautiful Expedition 33 is on a moderate budget, right? Like they could definitely just do one of those for Final Fantasy 17, but you're never going to convince a mega corporation that that's the way to go, even though Final Fantasy going back to turn-based would definitely create a groundswell of momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Like people would be excited about that. People would be talking about it. And as long as it was good, I think it would sell millions of copies. And it would probably be way more profitable than a Final Fantasy 16, which I think they said was a disappointment, right?
Yeah. I mean, it came out on Xbox and nobody played it.
Right. Well, so it's just, if they had smarter managers, Kevin, yes, they would be paying more attention, but
yeah,
they do not.
Let's do another one from the community here. Sean Coates says, do you believe that indie or mid-tier studios should be given the chance to take a crack at established IPs instead of just leaving those franchises in the hands of devs with massive budgets? That's an interesting question. Jake, what do you think?
I feel like we've done this before. Well, not us per se, but I feel like they've tried to take. I mean, look at. I mean, what they do that all the time with Mario, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes a little individual person gets a Mario, but I mean, Nintendo keeps that like.
Well, they put them in. Anyway. Like, what was the developer that did that XCOM game with Mario in it? Rabbids,
right? Ubisoft,
yeah,
right.
Or what about Cadence of Hyrule, right? The rhythm game,
yeah.
So
I mean, Echoes of Wisdom wasn't made by Nintendo,
right? But no, I think it's a good idea. I think it puts a fresh spin on old IPs, but at the same time, these big studios have to allow you to do it. So come up with a good idea. You have to have the plan before you have the character. You can't just go, okay, I have the character now. What am I going to do with it? You have to go, here's an idea, and then pitch it to them and figure out if they're actually going to let you do it.
Right. Here's the idea: is you just actually make it.
Right.
Can we go back to the days of having that like Nintendo seal of quality on the games that they're actually made by Nintendo? You know what I mean? Like, but that could also hurt it as well, because then a Zelda game comes out made by another developer that doesn't have that seal.
Yeah, but it's not just that. Like, I've been waiting for another Jack and Daxter game for years. I love that universe. I love the characters and all that kind of stuff. And I really honestly don't believe Naughty Dog will ever do anything again. It's not on the books.
Intergalactic Sun. Yeah, it's interesting. I guess Ninja Gaiden, Ragebound, right, would be an example of this. Because you can find like outside IPs, like what Mike Bithell just did, that Tron Catalyst game. There was a Hellboy roguelike a couple years ago that was awesome by Upstream Arcade. So it seems like other license holders are aware that you can go mid-budget with these properties and find success. John Wick Hex, yeah, that was a clever way to do a John Wick game. But you're right; it would be interesting if publishers were more open about this. Like, oh boy, who did Team Ninja is being for Ninja Gaiden. Like, that's cool. Yeah, why not? Yeah, let an indie studio make a Halo Gear Gay game. Why not?
I would play that in a second.
That'd be weird.
that could be cool, man. Maybe the Arbiter, you're crash land on a planet, you gotta build your way back up or something. There's angles you could take with these things that you would never get in the big budget versions. I think that'd be cool. And I think they would I think it would serve them well to expand their properties like this, especially ones where they want it to be a whole universe, like a Halo or a, I don't know.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Please do it.
Over on Discord, Mark Szymanski wants to know, how long do you think you would survive in Silent Hill? What do you think, Zach?
Definitely 4 to 8 minutes for sure. No doubt I would get in there. I don't know, man. I don't. I try not to have a lot of regrets in life, but I feel like there's some kind of karmic nightmare waiting for me in some way. That I'm sure that the town would manifest into
See,
my soul.
that tells me that you're a really bad person compared to what I think of you, what I know of you, Zach.
I don't feel like a bad person, but like
I mean,
I've never smothered. Oh, I don't want to
yeah.
spoilers. Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't want to give any.
What is it? Mistreatment of children?
Well, 3 years ago I could have said what I said, but now it's too fresh.
Yeah.
I don't want to kidnap. I've never kidnapped a child from a cult and felt bad about it later. Is that another one?
Yeah.
Anyway, all the people at Silent Hill are bad. I don't feel like. So I guess, but you also can't say like you're not going to have any monsters, right?
Right.
Then
Everybody's going to.
Now you're being narcissistic. Now you think you're perfect.
And that's what your monsters will be then.
But yeah, see, so I don't know, man. That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like there's something bad I've done that I'm not even aware of. That's going to come back and get me.
That's the thing.
Maybe
my immediate response is like you. Yeah, I wouldn't last very long, but I think having played Silent Hill games, I would last at least a little bit, to get by. Like I'm gonna not do the stupid things. Like I would probably just try to get out of Dodge, as opposed to like let's go into the creepy school and see what happens. Like
right.
Because if you lived in these worlds, you're not going to be like gated off from everything. What do they do in Silent Hill? They have like just the massive chasms in the road that prevents you from getting out.
Well,
like, come on.
The town's trying to lead, James to a destination, right?
Right. So
it makes sense. It's just
there's got to be a way to make a bridge or something.
No, because it's like a nightmare world, man. It's not the real world. It's not supposed to make any sense. What about you, Jacob? How long are you gonna last?
Have you seen The Nurses? That's how long I'm gonna last.
Yeah, I know what you're doing. I'm picking a whoa.
Don't get it twisted.
His nurse, he's gonna see those violent nurses and be like, "Step on me, mommy."
Oh my goodness. Oh, like in the last one, weren't they like legs and legs instead of like actual nurses?
Mannequins? Yeah. Well, there were nurses too.
Were there? Okay. Yeah, that's right. The nurses did like the gas clouds or something.
What about you, Scott? Sorry, how long are you living?
A little bit longer than you, but still not very long. Because I feel like I have some sensibilities going into a survival horror world like that James and other characters in Silent Hill don't. They're just normal people that haven't played Silent Hill games before, so I'm gonna have a little bit of an edge.
Right. I guess that's an interesting way to angle it.
Also on Discord, Drew Ross says, out of any game world, which land, town, or house would you live in? Which gaming character would be your closest neighbor? I have a guess for what Zach's is going to be. But
well, I'm sure. Yeah, Jacob and I were talking about it before the show. But I mean, yeah, I guess if I had to pick one, it would be probably Beecher's Hope, the ranch from Red Dead Redemption.
That's not what I.
Oh, what do you think I was going to say?
Croft Manor.
That'd be cool. Yeah, because that's what I was talking about with Jake. I was like, I don't know if the Old West really counts as a game world.
Because it was an actual thing,
right? Yeah,
and also it's kind of glorified more in TV shows and games, right? It wasn't like,
dude, I want every day to be the roll of the dice and whether or not I'm making it out. That's what I want, man.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe that's my Silent Hill monster.
Yeah. What about you, Jake?
I feel like this is almost like an age-old question. Because like as kids, you were like, man, I wish it was like a game. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that, blah, blah, blah. And I find myself in a toss-up between like the stereotype of me answering this question would probably be something along the lines of like Monster Hunter.
You mean your favorite game of all time?
Yeah,
dude, you get out there hunting monsters. Dude, you do it for real.
Nah. I like the idea of living in like a Pokemon-esque world, something that have like, those creatures that you catch them and, do stuff with them. That'd be cool. But yeah, I don't know. Like there's so many good video game worlds out there. So many different things that like I've seen and done in so many different ways. I don't know if I could just choose one. It's nuts. Subnautica would be fun. Terrifying, but it would be fun. But yeah, I just don't know. But as my neighbor, I have no idea either. So many characters have always stood out to me, especially in different games. I don't know if I could choose, like, unless I put like actual thought behind it rather than just like maybe an hour and figure out which character that I want being next to me. Yeah, this is such a good question.
I figured out a way to answer this question in my favor and to still make it a game world. I'm going to live at Lon Lon Ranch in Ocarina of Time.
Oh, look at you.
There we go.
Mm.
Nailed
Just
it.
gonna sell milk.
Sure,
Milk.
dude. And as for my neighbor who's a Naburu, I want her to be my neighbor. This the spirit medallion holder lady.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Man, it's been
What about you, Scott?
I feel like I'm going the easy route, but like because my mind was
Ocarina
like,
of Time and Zelda.
no, not that.
That's a great setting, bro.
It is, but like if I'm gonna go live in another world, I want it to be as stress free as possible, which is really difficult to think of a place that is stress free, because that's what makes games interesting is the conflict and the drama and
probably don't live in Clocktown in Majora's Mask. That's
yeah,
for sure.
right. Oh my gosh, just this moon staring at you like menacingly from the sky.
Yeah, dude.
No, I'm thinking something like a Harvest Moon, where all I'm doing is farming and just living the life and not worrying about, like, the biggest thing I gotta worry about is an occasional storm or going outside and getting my hands dirty and doing some work.
Mhm.
And my neighbors would be other like-minded farmers. So I don't know.
Lame.
Maybe we got to make a farm commune together, Scott.
Dude, like I mean, I've been doing some work out on the farm, not farming, but I've been working on my in-laws' farm, getting your hands dirty type of work. And there's just something satisfying about rolling up your sleeves and getting your hands dirty and seeing a job well done. And it would be kind of cool to just like that be your living. So, so yeah, it's kind of cheating a little bit, but
Yay, farming. No, I mean, that's easy, but like Farm Simulator, any of that kind of stuff. I mean, I'll play the hell out of some Farm Simulator.
I mean, I don't know which I would like better, like actual doing farming with like the modern technology of farming.
You want to get your hands dirty.
Yeah, like
yeah,
I
get
don't
in
know.
there.
I mean, I get like a plow, like, pulled by a horse or something like that, but
Yeah.
There's just something about like putting all this work and seeing the fruits of your labor that is so satisfying.
The perfect excuse. We'll go Rune Factory. It's a combination between Pokemon and Harvest Moon.
There you go. So you still get your adventure in.
Right.
There you go. Yeah.
Or maybe Moonlighter, where I just go like explore the dungeon.
Oh,
and sell my wares.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. All right. Paul Hine asks, what is your favorite? What is your favorite single player IPs? Excuse me. Which of your favorite single player IPs would love to see as a multiplayer experience?
Shadow of the Colossus. Oops, sorry.
Oh my god!
A 2-player co-op Shadow of the Colossus would be cool.
Or imagine one where like there were like 2 spots on the monsters that you had to attack at the same time. So like,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, because Monster Hunter, the hunting genre is one thing, but Shadow of the Colossus had these big old beasts, but they were kind of puzzles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be fun to have these puzzles that you had to solve with a friend.
Yeah, like way. You know how like Portal 2 had the co-op mode that were completely different maps that required you to think differently.
Yeah,
like you have monsters that you have to think differently on how to take them down. I like that idea.
I think that'd be cool. Like maybe one's got to hold on to this giant fish Colossus, while the other one's got to worry about the water levels or something.
Right.
There would just be ways to kind of coordinate that. I think would be cool.
Or you had to like pick specific classes that work best for different aspects of the monsters. So like, because there's only one character in Shadow of the Colossus, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I like the simplicity of Shadow of the Colossus. Mm-hmm. But I think there's room for something there. I
agree. Jake, what do you think?
Oh man, I'm trying to think of a single player game that I've played, but I don't play a lot of games with other people, so I'm trying.
Which shop simulator would you want?
Most of the games that I play like that are multiplayer already. So I'm trying to think.
Dude, I have a great example that you and I both played recently that would have been a lot of fun to be in the room together.
What?
Blueprints.
Oh, I mean,
like, we had to make that multiplayer by like playing the game on our own and talking on the phone. Like, go to this room, dude. Go to this room right now.
if there was puzzles that required two people,
Yeah.
we got to pull levers at the same time. You push this button while I push that button, or we got to, you be in this room, I'd be in that room. Like that would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But that would
Couldn't
be
you guys just do an escape room?
we could,
We
but
should.
it wouldn't be blueprints,
Well,
and I'd be doing all the work.
What? I figured stuff out without you.
That's fine. I know. Shh.
It's
It's okay.
take all the credit.
oh boy.
We figured out our own ways.
I mean, there are so many open world games that I would love to be playing with somebody else. I mean, think back to like, well, some of them are interesting because you were by yourself, right? Like I'm thinking of the Lord of the Rings one. What was the Lord of the Rings one with the Nemesis system?
Oh, Shadow of Mordor.
Oh,
Shadow Mordor.
Oh yeah.
That
Mordor War.
that might be tricky to make a co-op game or a multiplayer game because it was deeply personal about who you were fighting, right? And how they reacted to you. But any open world game.
Technically, there was a multiplayer aspect to it because you could send your go fight somebody else's general.
Yeah,
because you'd set them up for life or whatever, kill yourself a bunch of times so that person was as strong as possible, do things to them so they were strong or weird or whatever, and then somebody else from another game would come over and fight him. You would just be like, oh hey, I'm gonna let him go fight other people. And
or what if you could do that multiplayer aspect in like the Assassin's Creed games where you would like send out, like in Brotherhood, when you would send out your Brotherhood to do missions.
Mhm.
If you could just do that with your friends. Hey guys, get together and go like do this raid for me. Like where like you're doing this while you're doing the main story. I don't know.
I want Generations Ultimate for Monster Hunter has this mechanic to where if you have a friend card or whatever from one of your friends, obviously, and they aren't online, their person still shows up in your gathering hub, and you can hire them to go do random missions and bring back stuff for you.
Okay.
And I would love to see
now we're bordering on MMO territory, I feel like.
I know, but I would love to see more of that where it's like, oh, my friends aren't actually here with me, but I'm still actually interacting with their characters.
I would just like to see more games do it like Far Cry 4 and 5 did, where you can play the game by yourself, but you can also team up cooperatively and be in the same world together.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just fun. So any of those open world games.
I'm gonna look at Steam real quick. Maybe I can come up with an idea. Oh, that's Ball Pit. My bad. Hold on.
Well, while you're looking, we're going to go to the next question that comes from Rusty, who says, what is your favorite video game sound effect? Mine might be the glistening shing of grabbing a star in Mario 64. That sound effect carries over to a few of the Mario Party games as well. Zach, you got a favorite video game sound effect? I think we did this as a topic one time, didn't we?
I think, well, maybe. But it's kind of hard to think sound effect rather than like a little jingle, right?
Yeah.
I think I came with the Halo energy recharging sound effect when your shields finally start regenerating, because then it's like a Pavlovian response of that's you're back into ass kicking mode.
Yeah,
and that's a pretty good feeling. It's just kind of like it feels like you're in the action movie where you're hiding behind the bar counter for a second to catch your breath before you pop up and just eviscerate everybody. Remember
how like new of an idea that was at the time too?
Oh
like,
yeah,
what do you mean I can just like go hide behind a tree and just like get all my health back? Like
straight up
feels like easy mode. Yeah. Jake?
A little weird, but there is a notification noise in Remnant 2. I think it's in Remnant 1 as well. But when there is an elite enemy that's coming towards you, the game screeches. It like there's a high pitch like noise that happens, and it lets you know that this enemy is coming at you. And it's not something that it's not like when your character sees it, it lets you know that it's there. It just, if it's on the map, it lets you know that it's on the map coming your way. And me and Mindy have been playing, and it'll happen, and Mindy is now going, where? Whereas before, when I was playing by myself with like a low level, alone, I'd be like, oh man, where is this thing? Like I have to intercept it before it actually gets to me. So I love the fear that noise brings.
So you're like having the opposite effect. Like you like the fear that a sound gives you instead of like, oh, that's like it makes me feel happy inside. Mine I feel like is an easy answer, but remember the orbs in Crackdown,
Oh yeah.
the original Crackdown, like that game was so satisfying. Just like that became what that game was, right? Just like just go collect orbs,
Yeah, that's the part everybody remembers.
right?
Yeah, and then you level up so you can jump higher. Now you can get more orbs. I like when you level up, you're driving, your car's transformed. I thought that was super cool.
Mm-hmm. And then wasn't there like an achievement to like get to the highest point in that world and jump off
Yeah,
and
sure.
like land in a pool or something? Wasn't there like a pool at the bottom of that skyscraper? Ah.
Yeah, dude. That was a great game and only works in its time and place.
Oh man, you don't think if they remastered it, that would do well?
They did 2 sequels and no one cared.
I feel like people like Crackdown 2. I feel like nobody liked Crackdown 3.
I do not remember people being happy about Crackdown 2 when it came out.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Scott's actual favorite noise is Navi.
Hey, I mean, nobody actually liked that. That we all, even as hardcore Zelda fan as myself, found that super annoying. That is annoying in Wind Waker, by the way. I can't remember what it is that is talking to you.
The boat?
No. Before you get the boat, there's like something else that flies around with you.
Yeah.
That always wants to talk to me, and I just ignore or him or it. I don't remember what it is.
It's the little green suit guy in the balloons, isn't it?
No, that's Tingle. You're talking.
Yeah. No,
this is some. I can't remember what it is. I got to go back and play that some more. But yeah, it always does that thing like it wants to tell me the same thing over and over and over again. I'm like, dude, I'm good. Let me figure this out. All right, moving over to Fuse. By the way, if you have not checked out Fuse.io, download the app. It is awesome. It's legitimately great. There is a link in the show notes if you want to use our link. It will get you right there. But Almost Sleek on Fuse asks, would you rather go on a dinner date with Jimmy Lee or Bimmy Lee? Why? Do your homework. Hopefully you get the joke. I assume this is Jimmy Lee from Double Dragon? Or
I would exclusively go with Bimmy Lee because I only date mistakes.
Which ones do you marry?
Shout out for Mindy.
I only date mistakes.
Is this a Double Dragon joke that I'm not?
I can't remember which one it was in, but yeah, apparently it was like a misspelling or a misworded or whatever.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And also, go
well,
ahead.
Come on, Jack. What's he doing right now?
Zach.
You being funny?
I was starting to read the next name, next comment.
Uh-huh. I would vote Jimmy Lee because I only date people that are real. You know what I'm saying?
Jimmy Lee's real?
Bimmy's not even a real name.
Yeah, Bimmy ain't.
Where was that? I got to look it up now and see where that accident was. But AJ Fetch 27 over on Fuse says, "Do you think this is just for you, Jake? I put this in here. Do you think the Mario franchises would be more successful if the quirky plumber's name was Keith? They totally dropped the ball on that one." And the reason I actually read this comment is because people don't know this. Jake's character in Baldur's Gate 3, he literally named him Keith.
Yeah.
Or no, not in Baldur's Gate. It was in.
Yeah.
Is it Baldur's Gate? Yeah. Like
you're right the first time.
Okay, I was thinking Diablo 4 for a second. Because you did the same thing in that where you had named your character like Pete or something like that.
Yeah. I will always name the super fantasy hero of great power something super lame.
Like Ned from Game of Thrones. That cracks me up.
Well, it's the
Super Keith Brothers.
Tim. What is that from? I'm seriously, what is it from?
Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail.
I think
there are those who call me Tim.
Yeah, like a super fanciful wizard named Tim. Like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so like I'm the monster killer dragon hunter slayer named Steve. Like
Keith Galaxy 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyway, that was just
Keith Brothers.
Keith Brothers. Keith Brothers 2. Keith Brothers 3. Keith.
But World. No, I don't think Mario gets as far if every game was with "It's a me, Keith."
No, it probably wouldn't.
What's Luigi then? That's Keith.
Still Luigi.
Keith and Luigi.
Keith and Luigi.
All right, well,
Keith
everybody
is missing.
Thank you so much for the questions. It's always a blast to do those. Next week, we are going to do our best to come back to the protecting kids online topic. So stay tuned for that. That's going to do it for this week's The Gaming Outsider. Thanks so much for listening. This episode was produced by Kevin Honigford, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. As always, his website is stemagemusic.com. STEMAGE music.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Zach, do you have any parting words or recommendations for our listeners?
I do not. I have a parting request to Jacob / his wife, though. Give me some beginner survival games that I should be checking out.
Ark?
No Man's Sky.
Not Ark. Something that's not Ark. Okay, No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
All right. I'll wait to see what.
It would be interesting to hear you play No Man's Sky after all the changes that game has gone through, and
Right, yeah,
because none of us touched it since that, right?
It's lesser. It's less survival, but when you are outside of your habitat, you are constantly dying.
Okay. Yeah.
So-
well, that might be a good way, because there is an objective in that one, right? Like you're trying to get to the center of the universe. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's not bad. It's not a bad idea.
Jake, how about you?
Oh no. Do I ever have something good? No.
All right. Well, I do have one, but it's going to be a weird recommendation because I want you to experience this a different way than I did. And that's
it, folks. We're going. Oh.
And that is a book that I'm in the middle of reading right now. I heard this mentioned on some other podcasts, and it is a 6-book series. I'm in the first book. It is called Dungeon Crawler Carl. Have you guys heard of this?
Yes. Brian Quinn of Practical Jokers on his podcast, Tell Him Steve Dave, has been talking this book series up for months.
Okay. So do you know the premise?
Just, yeah. I mean, I do. I'm sure Jacob doesn't, though.
Okay.
I have no
listeners.
idea. Please talk to me like I'm an idiot.
Dungeon Crawler Carl is a story about a guy named Carl that lives on Earth, and
Does he crawl
something
through
happens
dungeons?
that requires him to go through an actual, well, not an actual, like a digitized dungeon that takes place in his world, and he has to do this to survive. It's kind of like a Hunger Games-esque deal where like he goes through the dungeon, and at the end of the day, there's a report from the people that are putting him here saying how many people are left in the world that are still alive. It's kind of like last person standing type situation. But this whole book is told in a very tongue-in-cheek, goofy kind of way. It's not taken seriously at all. But everything is told as in a way that if you have played video games your entire life like we have, it's speaking your language. It talks about HUD and menus and potions and mana, and everything is very much a video game, but it does not take itself too seriously. It's very goofy. It's very silly. Now, what I'm going to recommend you to do is to read the actual book, because what I have done is I am listening to the audiobook. And normally I highly recommend audiobooks, and this could be just a me thing, so take this for what it's worth. The narrator, I think his name is Jeff Hayes, incredible voice actor. He can do so many different voices. I am not a fan of the choice that was made to voice Carl in this. It's a first person story told from Carl's perspective, and the voice that he's chosen to voice Carl, it sounds like Patrick Warburton. If for those that don't recognize that name, he was Putty on Seinfeld. He was the Tick. So like imagine an entire book narration sounding like that. It is.
I'm envisioning the Crimson Chin.
Yes. So I'm not a big fan of. I feel like I would enjoy this book more if I were actually reading it and doing the voice myself in my head instead of the one that's going here. I'm not knocking the voice actor. He's severely talented. I'm just not a fan of the choice that was made. But there is another character that he voices that is that talks, that is a completely different voice. You would almost believe it was a different actor doing this other voice. He's good at what he does. I just don't like the choice that was made for because it becomes very great. You know how like Patrick Warburton, when he talks, he always sounds like he's out of breath at the end of every sentence.
Right.
Which works in a side character, but for a main character all the time, it just comes across. And I get it. I guess the character was supposed to be a former military guy or whatever, but I just don't buy a guy with that voice understanding video game lingo or Dungeons and Dragons lingo. Like, yeah, and then my constitution is now on level 5, and you know what I mean? I don't buy it, but the book is interesting. Just don't expect it to be anything super serious. It's very, very goofy, and it's made 5 sequels. There's like 6 books now.
Yeah.
And I am enjoying the story and enjoying the hearing him level up, him and his party leveling up, and the different powers and abilities and things. They actually got to level 8 in the book already, which is 2 levels above where we are in our D&D campaign. So
2 levels,
and it only took like 5 hours of reading the book for them to get to level 8. So
right.
Well, anyway,
it's taken 5 years.
So I do recommend it. Hope maybe, and again, take it for what it's worth. If you just absolutely need to listen to an audiobook, give it a shot. Maybe it's just a me thing. I just it's. I wish he had chosen a different voice for this main character, but that's it, everybody. Thank you to Jake. Thanks to Zach. I really appreciate you guys coming on and being patient with me and my internet. And thanks to everybody else for being patient for this coming out a day later than normal. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Jacob Gunderson, and we are the Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.